Hello everyone, this is Faye at CSN Chicago News. A new exhibit has opened at the Newberry Library in Chicago, which focuses on founding father Alexander Hamilton. Hamilton has inspired a recent popular Broadway musical, but some of the artifacts of his life and times have been at the Newberry for more than a century. The exhibit is called Hamilton, the History Behind the Musical. The exhibit is free and open until March 9th. Many people are fascinated that many of the things in the musical are based in reality. Hamilton died in a duel with the rival Aaron Burr. He's bigger influence now than he was in his era. Illinois Attorney General Lisa Madigan on Wednesday filed a lawsuit against the nation's largest student loan company over allegations that the company repeatedly cheated borrowers, sending students into billions of dollars in debt. The lawsuit, which alleges rampant student loan abuses, names Navient Corporation, its subsidiaries Navient Solution Incorporation, Pioneer Credit Recovery Incorporation, and General Revenue Corporation, along with its lending predecessor, Sallie Mae Bank. Madigan said in a statement, Navient's actions have led to student borrowers needlessly carrying billions of dollars in debt, and the company must be held accountable. The suit says struggling borrowers in Illinois and across the country reported that Navient failed to assist them when they called for help, ultimately increasing the overall cost of their loan instead of informing them of federal income-based repayment options. It's no secret that Chicago has one of the finest culinary scenes in the country, and this year a West Loop eatery has been named best in the city. The winners of annual Jean Bachert Award were announced on Sunday, and Blackbird took home the top honor for 2017. Opened in 1997, Blackbird was the first venture for executive chef Paul Cahan, who won the James Beard Award for Outstanding Chef in 2013. Blackbird is managed by One Up Hospitality Group along with other big-name Chicago establishments, include the Publican, Big Star, Nico Osteria, Dub's Luncheonette, and the Violet Hour. Other winners included Chef of the Year Andrew Broach of Royster and the Best New Restaurant Oreo in the Fullerton River District. Bill Montagnier and Jennifer Kim of Snaggletooth took home the Rising Chef of the Year award, while Sumi Rabata Bar in River North was named the Best Neighborhood Restaurant. University of Illinois is rolling out an ambitious effort to boost enrollment by 15% over the next 5 years, growing the three campuses to more than 93,600 students. School leaders are aiming to add around 12,150 students by 2021, pinpointing increases in undergraduate programs at the Chicago campus and graduate and online programs in Urbana-Champaign. Under the plan, enrollment at Urbana-Champaign will go from around 47,000 in fall 2016 to more than 53,000, a jump of 6,300 students. International students, long a critical revenue source for the university, can expect to pay a bit more this year. International and out-of-state student rates in Urbana-Champaign both could increase by 1.8%, and international students in Chicago could pay 2% more in tuition. Springfield prices for those groups would remain the same. Chicago has lost another round in its effort to restrict the operation of gun ranges in the city. A U.S. Court of Appeals on Wednesday held as unconstitutional ordinances restricting gun ranges to manufacturing areas in Chicago. The ordinances also place limits on the distances they can be located in relation to residential areas, schools, parks, and places of worship. The court also ruled there was no justification for banning of anyone under 18 years from entering a gun range. A city spokesman wasn't immediately available for comment on the court's ruling.
承载梦想。中国南方航空是中国运输飞机最多、航线网络最发达、年客运量最大的航空公司。亚洲第一，全球第三，是南航缔造的业界奇迹。蓝天壮志情，云海谱华章。
First, let's take a look at the global markets. Chinese stocks closed lower on Thursday, with the benchmark Shanghai Composite Index down 0.38%. Hong Kong stocks fell 0.21% on Thursday. The 225-issue Nikkei stock average added 0.94%. The U.S. dollar rose against other major currencies on Wednesday as investors digested the Federal Reserve's beige book amid a batch of economic reports. Oil prices settled lower Wednesday as market expects U.S. producers to boost output. Gold futures on the COMEX division of the New York Mercantile Exchange fell on Wednesday on mixed U.S. economic data and a stronger U.S. dollar. Now let's take a look at the U.S. stocks from our correspondent Sun Omeng in New York.
Okay, let's take a look at the stocks market. U.S. stocks closed mixed Wednesday as investors digested newly released data and corporate earnings. On the economic front, the consumer price index CPI for all urban consumers increased 0.3% in December on a seasonally adjusted basis, in line with market expectations, the U.S. Labor Department reported Wednesday. U.S. industrial production rose 0.8% in December after falling 0.7% in November, the Fed said Wednesday. In corporate news, Goldman Sachs reported quarterly results that easily topped the analysts' expectations, boosted by a surge in trading revenue. Citigroup posted better than expected adjusted quarterly profits, but the sales missed the market estimates. Meanwhile, investors are watching closely on the speech from Yellen about the goals of monetary policy for more clues on the pattern of the Fed's rate hikes. This is Omeng reporting from New York Stock Exchange.
Thank you, Omeng, and we'll keep you updated with the daily markets. The North American Free Trade Agreement between the United States, Canada, and Mexico has lasted over 22 years. It has survived 3 U.S. presidents as well as 5 Mexican presidents. However, recent conflict over the agreement has overshadowed bilateral ties between the U.S. and Mexico.
The agreement serves as a trade lever to maintain the stability of bilateral ties, especially between the U.S. and Mexico, 2 immediate neighbors in the West Hemisphere.
México exportaba a nivel mundial en esos
In 1992, to be precise, the export totaled $10 billion. In December 2016, the export of Mexico was worth $20 million a day. The wealth generated by NAFTA from Mexico upped by 50%.
However, the profit and income generated from the agreement have been destabilized by Donald Trump's victory election. The president-elect promised more protectionist policies during his campaign.
I shared my strong view that NAFTA has been a far greater benefit to Mexico than it has been to the United States, and that it must be improved upon to make sure that workers, and so important, in both countries benefit from fair and reciprocal trade.
Mexico says Trump has made a gross error in calculations. Analysts point out that he has failed to see that NAFTA benefits the U.S. as well as Mexico.
El Telecan
NAFTA represents 6 million jobs for the U.S. economy. Trump can ruin the pact if he wants to lose those 6 million jobs, which are based in the North that voted for him.
NAFTA was established in 1994 for better integrated trade in North America. As years went by, business, export and investment were brought together by the trade pact.
Estados Unidos tiene en México
The U.S. has a geographic aspect in Mexico that no other country offers. Mexico has specialized in 3 large segments where the U.S. company has a huge investment: automotive, electronic, and now civil aeronautical. The 3 branches go hand by hand.
Trump has vowed to renegotiate or scrap NAFTA in order to bring jobs back to the United States. However, it appears a trade deal will be difficult to undo.
Suppliers in the U.S. do not have that industrial manufacturing quality that Mexico has. That is why we found those industries in Mexico, which is the only market where 33 of the world's manufacturing companies are present.
Donald Trump is due to take office on January the 20th, becoming the 45th President of the United States.
Italian President Sergio Mattarella and Greek leaders have urged for stronger cooperation between countries in Europe to cope with the influx of refugees. The leaders called on European powers to face the common challenges of the economic and refugee crisis together.
President Mattarella started a 2-day official visit to Athens on Tuesday. The meetings aim to deepen bilateral ties and discuss regional challenges. The Italian leader stressed that bilateral cooperation is founded on the 2 countries' shared history, values and vision of the future.
We share a common view of the EU, of the challenges and problems. Both countries believe that the EU should focus on economic growth and boosting employment, in particular for young people.
For Greece, the Prime Minister Alexis Tsipras said the EU and Eurozone are facing common challenges.
Today we stand as member states of the EU and Eurozone, as countries of the South Europe, facing common challenges, the challenge of the economic crisis and the refugee crisis. Therefore, our collaboration as well as cooperation between all European countries across the Mediterranean is crucial for the creation of a better Europe.
Italy and Greece are 2 of the European countries currently most affected by the refugee crises.
Italy's Antonio Tajani of the European People's Party group was elected president of the European Parliament on Tuesday.
Tajani led the first 3 rounds of voting, but was not able to secure the absolute majority necessary to win earlier in the day. After the grueling contest, he emerged after defeating Gianni Pittella, leader of the Progressive Alliance of Socialists and Democrats, in the final 4th voting round, by 351 votes to 282. He replaces the outgoing President Martin Schulz and will serve a renewable 2.5-year term. Tajani takes office immediately and in his first duties will oversee the election of 14 vice presidents and 5 quaestors.
Politicians in Britain's House of Commons have grilled Prime Minister Theresa May following her keynote speech outlining plans to leave the EU.
Some MPs were already angered by May's decision to outline her strategy to an invited audience rather than explain her proposals in the Commons. In a noisy session of Prime Minister's questions on Wednesday, May faced a barrage of questions about MPs about the plans. The toughest exchange came between May and the leader of the opposition, Jeremy Corbyn. The leader of the Labour Party pressed May on a number of issues about her strategy to take Britain out of the EU. May responded, saying her strategy would promote a global Britain and end the divisions of Brexit. Corbyn referred to a front-page newspaper headline comparing May to Margaret Thatcher. Britain's only other female premier was famed as the Iron Lady. Other politicians added that the Brexit will have huge implications for people's lives, jobs, and living standards. Meanwhile, political commentators, the business world, and British media continue to analyze the implications of May's speech. In a decisive speech on Tuesday, May set the course for the clean break with the European Union. She promised to quit the EU single market, the first of such a comment by the UK leader. More than 660 kilometers from Westminster, Scotland's First Minister Nicola Sturgeon also criticized May's position. Sturgeon said May's plans to take Britain out of the single market had increased the likelihood of a second Scottish independence referendum. Politicians in Wales claimed May's plans would threaten 200,000 jobs in their region.
Now more news from Europe. The Department for Works and Pensions reported Wednesday the number of unemployed people in Britain has remained at an 11-year low.
Figures show the country currently has an employment rate of 4.8%, with almost 1 million people leaving the so-called dole queue since 2010. The Office for National Statistics confirmed Wednesday that employment continues to run at a near record high rate of 74.5%. With 31.8 million people in work, an increase of over 2.7 million since 2010. By genders, the figures show about 883,000 men and around 721,000 women are unemployed. Figures show average wages excluding bonuses grew by 2.7% over the last year, as the number of people claiming benefits remained at 2.3%. Employment Minister said stronger figures highlighted the strength and resilience of the labor market. The official data showed on Wednesday the consumer prices in Germany rose by 0.5% in 2016 on an annual average year-on-year. The prices of energy and foods were more expensive. The Federal Statistical Office Destadas reported the energy prices caused the inflation rate to jump to 1.7% in December. Destadas pointed out in a report that from January to November, the inflation rates were all below 1%. The inflation rate in December reached the highest level since that in July 2013. Destadas added food prices had an upward effect on prices. In addition, the consumer price index in December 2016 rose markedly by 0.7% compared with the previous month. According to data released on Wednesday, Spanish banks' non-performing loans as a percentage of total credit stood at about 9.23% in November. The ratio was the lowest level since May of 2012. The Bank of Spain said that bad debts within the Spanish banking system stood at over $126 billion by the end of November 2016. Spanish banks' bad loan ratio peaked at 13.6% in December of 2013. In industry data showed on Wednesday, automotive industry became one of the worst hit sectors by the crisis in Ukraine, suffering a tenfold decline since the beginning of the turmoil. An official report said Ukraine's carmakers produced only 5,264 vehicles in 2016, compared with 50,449 units in 2013. The vehicle production in Ukraine dropped by 36.5% last year from 2015, despite the start of the overall economic recovery in the country. Local analysts believe the decline occurred because the business activity in Ukraine was still slow in 2016. It is illustrated by the 65% plunge in the commercial vehicle production and 64% decline in the buses output in 2016 compared to the previous year. The reduction of the excise duty on imported cars has also affected the domestic car production.
U.S. President Barack Obama said Wednesday that having a constructive relationship with Russia is in the interest of the U.S. and the world. Obama made the remarks at his final press conference 2 days before President-elect Donald Trump takes office.
It is in America's interest and the world's interest that we have a constructive relationship with Russia. That's been my approach throughout my presidency.
However, Obama said he has noted an escalation of anti-American rhetoric on the part of Russia in recent years.
That return to an adversarial spirit that I think existed during the Cold War has made the relationship more difficult. And
He also defended his decisions over the past years to impose several rounds of sanctions on Russia in conjunction with U.S. allies in Europe.
The reason we imposed the sanctions, recall, was not because of nuclear weapons issues. It was because the independence and sovereignty of a country, Ukraine, had been encroached upon by force by Russia.
In a recent interview, Trump offered to end sanctions imposed on Russia in return for a nuclear arms reduction deal with Moscow. Trump said nuclear weapons should be weighed down and reduced very substantially. When asked about the effectiveness of Trump's strategy, Obama said if Trump is able to restart those talks in a serious way, there will be a lot of room for the two countries to reduce their stockpiles.
Cuba and the U.S. have signed an agreement to expand cooperation on air and sea search and rescue operations. The deal took place in Havana on Tuesday.
The deal was sealed between the U.S. Embassy representative Jeffrey De Laurentiis and the Cuban Deputy Minister of Transport, Marta Ormas. It aims to strengthen collaboration in this area and increase the efficiency of the assistance given to victims of accidents.
The United States and Cuba have been working together on search and rescue operations for more than 20 years. Today, we make another advance in strengthening this cooperation between the United States and Cuba in our common effort to save lives.
The agreement that we have just signed has a particular importance in establishing the commitment of our government to act when required in the search and rescue of people in danger because of air or maritime incidents.
Ormas referred to the two countries' joint adoption in 2014 of operational procedures. She also noted the smooth implementation of practices in rescue operations of victims by air and sea. This agreement comes at a particularly constructive period for bilateral ties. It follows last August's reinstating of direct regular flights between the two countries. Cuba and the U.S. restored relations in July 2015 after more than 5 decades of political enmity. Since then, Havana and Washington have endorsed several cooperation agreements on issues such as aviation, science, and healthcare. Cuba received over 600,000 visitors from the U.S. in 2016, a 34% rise from 2015.
Chinese President Xi Jinping called for building a community of shared future for mankind and achieving shared and win-win development amid growing challenges and risks.
While expounding his vision of mankind's future in the keynote speech at the United Nations office at Geneva on Wednesday, Xi Jinping championed a world of lasting peace, common security for all, and common prosperity, as well as an open, inclusive world and a clean, beautiful world. In his speech delivered at the Palace of Nations, Xi listed such priorities as partnership, security, growth, inter-civilization exchanges, and ecosystem in building a community of shared future for mankind. The president said, nuclear weapons, the sword of Damocles, the hands over mankind, should be completely prohibited and thoroughly destroyed over time to make the world free of nuclear weapons. He urged the international community to build a world of common security for all through joint efforts, saying all countries should pursue common, comprehensive, cooperative, and sustainable security. Xi announced that China has decided to provide an additional $29 million of humanitarian assistance for refugees and the displaced in Syria. In his vision of building a world of common prosperity through win-win cooperation, Xi advocated building an open world economy while warning against protectionism. Xi also suggested that the international community build an open and inclusive world through exchanges and mutual learning, and make the world clean and beautiful by pursuing green and low-carbon development.
As part of his ongoing visit to Switzerland, Xi Jinping visited the World Health Organization headquarters in Geneva. He pledged to step up health cooperation under China's Belt and Road Initiative.
When meeting with WHO Director General Margaret Chan, she said China welcomes the WHO's active participation in the construction of the Belt and Road and of a healthy Silk Road. Chan echoed Xi's remarks, saying that WHO is willing to enhance cooperation with China under the framework of the Belt and Road Initiative. The two leaders also witnessed a signing ceremony of a memorandum of understanding regarding the Belt and Road Initiative.
Data from the U.S. Treasury Department showed on Wednesday that China continued to cut its holding of U.S. Treasury securities in November last year. China shed its Treasury's holding by over $66 billion in November. This decreased the total holding down to just over $1 trillion. Data showed it cut the Treasury's holding for 6 consecutive months. The Chinese renminbi, or RMB, the yuan, has seen sharp falls since October last year. This has given rise to market concerns. But economists ruled out the possibility of continuing falls in 2017. The experts are confident that China will handle the impact. This is in view of China's relatively large current account surplus and high economic growth.
Data show that the number of international tourists rose by 3.9% in 2016, reaching over 1.23 billion. And a similar growth is also predicted for 2017.
The data were released by the United Nations World Tourism Organization at its head office in the Spanish capital, Madrid. The increase last year is around 46 million more than in 2015. This marks 2016 the 7th year of continued growth in sector since 2009. According to the organization, around 300 million more people visited other countries than at the start of the world economic crisis in 2008.
Well, we actually were really quite surprised to see that we had another year with this rather fast growth of almost 4%, which actually is the 7th year in a row that we have that growth, and without any interruption, which we haven't seen since the 1960s. So it's really good to see that in spite of a lot of challenges in the world, that tourism has been really strong and really very resilient.
The biggest growth in 2016 was in the Asia-Pacific region, which witnessed an 8% rise in tourist numbers. Africa showed similar growth after 2 years of weak results that were partly due to the security issues. With 2017 designated by the UN as the International Year for Sustainable Tourism, the UNWTO is also optimistic about 2017.
Yeah, we don't see indications that we wouldn't have a continuation of this trend. So we have estimated for the year as a whole growth in the range of 3 to 4%. So a continuation at a level comparable or slightly lower than what we have seen before, but still above the long-term average.
The UNWTO has also predicted there will be 1.8 billion international travelers by 2030.
A Seoul court dismissed a warrant to detain Samsung Electronics Vice Chairman Lee Jae-yong. The warrant was requested on Monday by the special prosecutors investigating South Korea's presidential scandal.
The marathon deliberation about the warrant lasted almost 15 hours before the court finally gave its verdict. It said at this stage it was difficult to accept the need for an arrest over the quid pro quo allegations. The verdict was based on a lack of evidence for the charges leveled against at the Samsung heir. These included bribery, perjury, and embezzlement. He became the first member of Samsung's founding family to face an arrest warrant since its establishment in 1938. The country's largest family-controlled conglomerate has thrived for over 8 decades. The spokesperson for the independent counsel team said Monday that his attempt to arrest Lee was part of efforts to eliminate collusion between politicians and businessmen. The collusion in South Korea has been linked to the industrialization under the military dictatorship that lasted for 30 years until the late 1980s. The development of industry was led by conglomerates. The judicial authorities again granted clemency for criminal charges. The Samsung heir is suspected of involvement in South Korea's biggest ever bribery case. Prosecutors have estimated it at about $37 million.
And that's all for this edition of Economy Report. For more news and highlights, follow us on YouTube. Coming up on today's Lifestyles, the oldest living panda in the world, Basi, has celebrated her 37th birthday. And in conservative Afghanistan, a group of female wushu players are breaking down the barrier and exercising outside. Hello and welcome. I'm Xie He in Beijing. You're watching Lifestyles on CNC World. The oldest living panda in the world, Basi, has celebrated her 37th birthday. Her panda age of 37 is as the same as 140 for humans.
On Wednesday, people from all around the world celebrated Basi's birthday party together in southeast China's Fuzhou City, capital of Fujian Province.
Basi was born in 1980 in Basvale, Baoxun County of Sichuan Province. She's identified as the oldest captive panda in the world. Congratulations and happy birthday!
Basi lives a comfortable life in Fuzhou and is possibly the most famous panda on the Chinese mainland. In 1990, she was chosen as a model for Pan Pan, the mascot of the Beijing Asian Games. Pandas are a special tourist attraction in China and attract thousands of visitors each year to the country.
Kolo, the first gorilla in the world to be born in a zoo, has died in her sleep during the night, less than 1 month after her 60th birthday.
The Columbus Zoo and Aquarium in U.S. state of Ohio made the announcement on Tuesday. Raised in a nursery by humans, Kolo never left the zoo. She exceeded her normal life expectancy by more than 2 decades. Kolo lived a happy life and had a large family. Born on December 22, 1956, Kolo was a mother of 3, grandmother of 16, great-grandmother of 12, and a great-great-grandmother of 3. She had surgery on December 3rd to remove a malignant tumor. It is not yet known if cancer contributed to her death. The zoo said Kolo will be cremated and her ashes buried at an undisclosed location at the zoo.
Formex, the largest fair for Nordic interior design, opened its doors on Wednesday in Stockholm.
The 4-day event aims to showcase the region's new trends and home decor for the coming months.
It's an open atmosphere. There's a lot of platforms. You will meet a lot of people and a lot of designers all over the world coming to Stockholm just to see what's happening here and of course also meet the producers, see what's happening in the Scandinavian countries and so on.
The event attracted more than 800 exhibitors.
It's the 107th time we're opening up this morning, so it's been going on since 1960. This year we will have around 800 exhibitors. We go twice in January and in August. So yeah, opening morning, it's a wonderful day.
Nordic Space is this year's spring theme and is centered around an open mind free of anxiety.
The mission was to try to describe the theme of the event, which was Nordic Space, and bring in the nature of Sweden to this entrance hall. In the morning in Sweden we can see this fog all over, you know, in the nature. So we're trying to make that happen in here. We've been trying to work with the 4 elements. You know, the skies, the earth, the wind and the water. With the effects of mirrors, try to get some kaleidoscope effects. That was the idea behind it, and then you can see the result here.
Scandinavia is known throughout the globe for its innovative designs and stylish home decor. The Swedish company IKEA is the world's leader in interior design.
The 2017 London Art Fair opened Wednesday in Islington's Business Design Centre. As the UK's biggest fair for modern and contemporary art, it is proving to be the best exhibition for art lovers of all tastes. Take a look.
The fair brings together 129 galleries from across the globe, offering a perfect environment for collectors keen to see a range of works. The fair also provides a program of curated exhibitions, talks, tours, films, and performances. Photo 50 is a group exhibition of land-based works curated by Christiane Menarci. This year's topic is Gravitas. Inspiration for the exhibition comes from the transition from boyhood to adult life.
I have been inspired by other exhibitions, perhaps about feminism or family or motherhood. I haven't really seen the exhibition about this adolescent period. And we see a lot of pictures in the media about youth, and youth is on Instagram, and it sells very well in newspapers and magazines. But then the popular media also very often has problems with youth. There are issues, there's obesity, there are drugs, there are people not finding their way. There's always some kind of a news item of something that's troubling. But very many people just are gently growing up. It's a very existential thing to think about, just the duration of adolescence. And this is a very quiet exhibition, just contemplating the different forces at work quietly as people mature.
Art Projects Dialogues is organized by curator Miguel Amado. It promotes new forms of presentation and fosters relationships between galleries on a global scale. Miguel hopes the dialogues will inspire audiences to think about both art and life.
It's a dialogue between me as a curator and the fair. It's a dialogue between me and the galleries, between me and the artists, between the galleries themselves, and then between all of us and the visitors. Indeed. So this is an art fair. So we have both specialized public, which is collectors and professionals, and then we have general public. I'm interested to see how the work will speak to all of them and generate interest. I was not really keen on just bringing work that would have commercial potential. I was interested in having work that also has conceptual and social dimensions, so that it can speak to both collectors but also to the public in general that might be less interested in the details of artistry or of a specific artist, but more interested in how a selection of works can tell stories or raise questions about the times in which we live.
In addition, a special exhibition is on show to mark the 10th anniversary of the Light Box. The event lasts until Sunday.
Now come with lifestyles to the Fitter International Tourism Fair.
2016 saw 1.23 billion people make international trips to enjoy their holidays. That number is expected to increase by 3 or 4% in 2017. And where everybody goes could well depend on what happens here at the Fitter Tourism Exhibition in Madrid.
A total of 165 countries and regions and over 9,000 2070 Fitter International Tourism Fair. The eagerly awaited conference opened its doors here on Wednesday. The 5-day event continues to grow in popularity. This year, there is a 17% increase in the number of exhibitors from Latin America. The increase is partly due to Argentina's prominence as guest of honor at the event. There was also a 9% increase in exhibitor numbers from the Asia-Pacific region and Europe.
Everybody, please feel welcome to come to Flanders, come to Belgium, to eat and taste our delicious Belgian chocolates.
In 2016, over 230 visitors attended Fitter. The event also generated around 240 million euros for Madrid. Fitter has several specialist sections focusing on health tourism, shopping, green tourism, and the use of new technology in the industry. The United Nations has designated 2017 the International Year of Sustainable Tourism. As a result, sustainability is one of the key topics in many of the forums at this year's event.
The Thai Energy Ministry will showcase its capability of generating bioenergy at Global Exposition in Kazakhstan. The tropical country specializes in generating feedstock for the production of a biofuel, ethanol.
Under the theme of future energy, the International Exposition is scheduled to take place in Kazakhstan's capital, Astana. The exhibition will last from June the 10th to September the 10th. The nearly 1,000 square meter Thai pavilion will be built around a bioenergy for all concept. It intended to showcase Thailand's strengths in developing renewable energy, particularly biofuels.
Thailand is a leader within the ASEAN community as a bioenergy initiator. Several countries promote solar energy alternatives, but Thailand is a leading innovator of bioenergy, deriving energy from agriculture.
Thailand's pavilion will be divided into 3 main exhibition rooms. The space will feature a 3D theater and host storytelling sessions by a robotic energy mascot. The host country expects more than 5 million visitors during the event.
A TV gala to celebrate the upcoming Chinese New Year was held in Paris on Monday evening. Chinese actors teamed up with French actors to give French audiences a veritable visual spectacle.
The gala was the kickoff event for a whole series of activities celebrating the Chinese New Year. It was also the first Chinese New Year gala to be recorded and aired on a French TV channel. The fusion of French and Chinese art was at the center of gala. This was particularly reflected in an innovative audio-visual performance blending the traditional Chinese instrument erhu and a laser harp. Guo Gan, the erhu player, told CNC he mixed erhu with jazz and rock music, adding new styles to Chinese traditional music. For the gala performance, Gan cooperated with French laser harp player Sylvain. The two musicians brought the ancient Chinese and modern musical instruments together. As a result, a new art form was born.
Through this form of performance, I want to bring traditional Chinese culture, traditional music and traditional instruments to France, and to let them take root in France, in Europe and in the world.
Sylvain, the French laser harp player, recited about the collaboration with the Chinese artist. He said the performance was a marriage between Chinese and French art and gave him a deeper understanding of Chinese music.
Although we cannot communicate through language, we can understand each other very well once we play our instruments. This is the unique language between us. It is amazing.
Many of the Chinese artists who were participating in the gala had to travel to different countries, showcasing Chinese art and culture around the world. 4 girls from South China's Guangxi province chanted and played the instrument tianqin. The instrument is typical of the Zhuang minority ethnic group.
Music is without borders. Foreign audiences might not understand what we sing, but they find it new and interesting.
The girls have been to many countries, but this was their first trip to France. They hoped the charm of Tianjin could move audiences there. Many Chinese art performances might be new for the majority of French people. This is not the case, however, with Kung Fu. This martial art has been popular with the French for a long time. Fred Pillet is one such French fan. Fred has practiced the martial art for more than 30 years. As a French Kung Fu expert, he was invited to perform for the gala.
France is a good friend of China, and this year is the year of rooster. The rooster is also one of the symbols of France, so there is a strong reason to be involved in this event. We are very happy to show that in France there are many people who like, admire and practice Chinese Kung Fu. This meeting in Center Paris today just made us so happy.
Fred has his own Kung Fu school in France, which has more than 100 students of different ages. He wants to continue to promote martial art in France, and for him, it is an art form worth spending a whole lifetime to perfect. 32-year-old Chinese pianist Wu Muye played Chopin's The Hero Poland Dance and his own version of Motherland. His act was the finale of the gala.
I wish everybody Happy New Year. I share this beautiful moment with you in Paris.
Wu reflected that many foreigners are attracted to the richness of Chinese culture. He felt himself to be a messenger of the cultural exchanges between China and France. With his piano, he wanted to help more Westerners understand and love Chinese culture.
I will promote Chinese culture through more activities and more cooperation.
Organizers hope the success of these celebrations will continue in the rest of the Chinese New Year activities.
You're watching Lifestyles. Now let's take a look at the next story.
In the Chinese zodiac, each year is given a different animal in a repeating 12-year cycle. The first day of the Chinese Lunar New Year 2017 falls on January 28th. This marks the beginning of the year of the rooster. In Chinese tradition, the rooster symbolizes the warding off of evil and new beginnings. This is because in Chinese, the pronunciation of rooster sounds like auspiciousness. Moreover, the rooster's crow represents the start of a new day. Chicago is the first city in the United States to organize a large-scale celebration of Chinese New Year. Here, the window display at the Macy's has shown an installation themed Herald Daybreak. It's an optical illusion created from strokes of the Chinese character for rooster in seal script.
This year, we are combining the culture of the Chinese zodiac and Chinese traditional characters to form this artwork. Our character is a hieroglyph. It comes from image and is being made abstract into what we use today. What we are now doing is revising the process, which is to break down the character first and separate all the parts of the characters. Then we use the parts to form the rooster we see today.
The window display is a major part of the Happy Chinese New Year events in Chicago. Its prominence means many passers-by will be able to enjoy it. The celebrations for Chinese New Year in Chicago are being made in response to a successful appeal for localizing the Chinese tradition.
In conservative Afghanistan, women are not allowed outside by themselves. But a group of female wushu players are now breaking down the barrier and exercising outside. Lifestyle says there's inspiring stories.
This is my prime objective, to see parity ensured between women and men in Afghanistan, and therefore I am calling upon all girls to break down the cultural barriers and join me in promoting wushu to achieve the noble goal.
Exercising on snowy hilltops in the western edge of Kabul with her 10 trainees, Azimi says Afghan girls and women are equally talented as men. However, she thinks harmful traditions have suppressed female potential.
In my opinion, women like men are free to go outside home, to exercise sports including wushu, and to demonstrate their ability and intelligence.
The temperature is -2 Celsius. According to Azimi, wushu doesn't recognize cold and hot weather. Players should be ready in all climates. In conservative Afghan society, people hold on to older traditions and don't allow females leave the house unless accompanied by a very close relative. Militancy claims the lives of many people almost every day. This means that exercising or playing sport in the open is extremely risky. The players can be exempted, as some families are against the activities. These women face a variety of challenges in their daily life, including catcalls in the street, but they are determined to keep going.
In the beginning, when I opened my private club 2 years ago to teach wushu, no girl dared to attend. But gradually the number increased, and presently 20 girls attend the club to exercise the self-defense art.
Azimi learned wushu in Iran while she lived there as a refugee. She returned to her home country, Afghanistan, 2 years ago. Besides teaching the martial art to a group of girls, she is an active member of Shaolin Wushu Club. This is a local club named after Chinese wushu player Shaolin. Unlike other women, Azimi is lucky that her father is an athlete and supports his daughter's choice of career.
My health is getting better and better since attending the club 4 months ago.
Like Sima Azimi, many other women have launched social programs to bring women more equality in their society. Women in today's Afghanistan can be counted among the country's cabinet members, politicians, businesswomen, cinema makers, and musicians. However, many believe that there is still a long road ahead for local women to achieve equality with men.
Sugar-free and diet drinks have long been considered as healthier options by many consumers. However, researchers at Imperial College London are now finding that they do not promote healthy weight. Researchers have shown that sugar-free versions of drinks do not add weight loss or help prevent weight gain, and many have similar effects as their full sugar counterparts. Sugar-free drinks have also been linked to other medical problems. Let's take a look.
A study from Imperial College London has shown there's no proof that sugar-free soft drinks can help weight loss. The study also shows that artificially sweetened beverages may also trigger chronic diseases. The new evidence on ASBs and their neglectable effects on weight loss supports the position that ASBs should not be promoted as part of a healthy diet. In addition to their effects, the production of ASBs damages the environment. Dr. Anthony Levity also provided some suggestions for people who want to lose weight. He said that a healthy diet and regular exercise can help people achieve that goal. They must still drink ASBs, but not to excessive amounts. Drinking water is the best choice as it is healthy and helps detox the body.
India's currency ban is bringing many industries to a grinding halt. As a result, the third largest Asian economy is in a labor crisis.
The Indian government announced in November it would take out over 80% of currency in circulation in the country's cash-rich economy. Following the move, industries have lost over millions of US dollars. Many daily wage laborers moved from remote villages to the Indian capital region to look for work. Many are employed on informal contracts as daily wagers in India's thriving construction industry. However, daily wagers are now facing new difficulties. Some decide to stay in the cities, hopeful they can survive the ongoing demonetization drive. However, their hope is getting thinner each day. Ever since November the 8th demonetization announcement, they're facing more and more uncertainty.
This is one of the hundreds of places dotted across Indian capital New Delhi where daily wage laborers used to come in search of a job. This number has now come down from thousands to hundreds. Call it a demonetization impact or anything else, but this decision has been impacting the lives of these laborers badly.
The demonetization was first seen as temporary inconvenience, but is soon turning to severe insecurity for the livelihoods of millions across the country. The Indian government and the central bank had assured the public the economy would return to normal by the end of last year. But now, nobody is sure how long the economic turmoil from the currency ban will last. 23-year-old Banjarath, a construction worker in Delhi, has spent his last savings on providing for his wife and 2 children. Last month, he earned only 6% of his monthly expenses. He comes to the labor market every morning to look for any kind of job, no matter how small the payment.
We get job for a day in almost a week. Now 5 days have already gone. I didn't get job for even a single day. We're getting only 200 Indian rupees for a daily job. With this, we barely make our both ends meet. We need at least 2,000 Indian rupees for house rent, as every month landlord knocks at our door.
For Brajlal, it has become a matter of life and death. Because of bank restrictions, he could not withdraw money he deposited at the bank. He claims it is better for him and his family to take poison than to survive the ill effects of demonetization.
I
never got troubled as much as I am now after the currency ban. Earlier, we used to get 15 to 20 days job in a month. It was enough to run our kitchen and to save some money as well. Now, how much we can save if we're getting job for just 3 days in a month?
Over 9% of the migrant workforce in Indian cities are employed in construction companies. Now low on hard cash, they're trying hard to retain labor.
Labor is under distress as the cash crunch is there all around India. So we're also getting less or nearly zero cash these days to run operation. So we're not able to pay them fully.
Another sector severely affected by the ban is agriculture, where many migrant workers are employed. Now that harvesting season is at its peak, the farm sector is suffering. The employer has no cash to pay for wages, which has resulted in a labor shortage. The cash-dependent diamond processing units are also lacking liquid funds. This has led to a high attrition rate in the industry over the past couple of months.
Thank you for being with us. We'll see you next time.
同心地产，芝加哥最大的华人中介团队，无论是家居或是商业地产，给你带来全方位的最佳服务。
专业的团队、丰厚的经验。
Welcome to Chicago. Welcome to the Lake Cook Law Group.
投资理财、法律咨询，芝加哥专业律师团队为您的梦想提供最安全的保障。
Should think about it. 마음 가는 대로 생각을 버리 go 하던 대로 Why do you never do you think you never I don't know 계속 let it go 그냥 흐르는 대로 우린 이미 많은 얘기를 나눴고 baby I never wanna go my love I know you baby you know me baby I don't know why I feel like you 그렇게 쳐다보는지 Why I feel like you Why I feel like you 계속해서 let it go 그냥 흐르는 대로 지금 좋아 내게로 지금 내게로 계속해서 let it go 그냥 흐르는